So welcome everybody to part 2 of this class. In the first half of this class we talked about strategy, and now we're going to move more towards the tactics in which we implement that strategy. So in order to give a lay of the land of what we're doing for the next several weeks, we're going to go back to our Novelli model, which is an assigned reading, moving into stage 3. Which is developing, testing, and refining plan elements. So let's talk about how we do all of that now. So in this step, the elements are of the marketing mix are developed and tested, and the program is refined. So we're going to, in this step, refine the product. We're going to choose the way that we distribute it. We're going to determine our price, and that could be, like I said before, that could be an actual monetary price, or it could be a physical price, an emotional price, it could be time. We're going to come up with our actual messages that we're going to use within our content, whether it's something like a website, a Facebook post, a Twitter account, advertising. We're going to come up with our general message that we would put in all of those. And then we're going to test our product. So how do we refine our product, and what does that necessarily mean? What we're really going to do now is tease out our offerings. We had some basic ideas about what we needed to do, but now we're really actually going to get very specific here. So we want to come up with different concepts of what our offerings are and really make them start to be crystal clear. So some examples of that. Our product, if we are a nonprofit, is building potential donors' trust and affinity with our nonprofit by connecting to them in a personal way. Or if we are a place like Amazon or Babies R Us or something like that, we want to make new parents aware of our weekly baby product specials. So those are strategies. Now, we're not talking specifically about how to do that just yet in terms of where that takes place. That's going to be in the next step. Right now, what we want to do is actually come up with what our offering is in a very specific way, talking about specific audiences with a specific goal. So that's what we mean by refine our product. And then on the flip side, it's the distribution. This is when we actually start to choose new media tactics based on those products we want to offer. So what's the best vehicle in which to do that? So what are the actual online channels that might work? What are the new media tools that really align with our products? So this is really important online because once we figure out the strategy, then it becomes the tactics. So what we do is we choose these new media tactics purposefully, and then we can test them to see if it's what works. So what does this look like putting product and distribution in here? So if we've got our product and we've got our distribution, here's how they align. So in a couple slides ago, I said that one of the product offerings of a nonprofit might be to build potential donors' trust and affinity with our nonprofit by connecting to them in a personal way. So what's the new media goal, or what's the new media channel in which we could do that? How about a Facebook page or a Twitter page that shows our accomplishments, where we can interact with these potential donors, talk to them, and actually have a conversation? So that's one is the product, and the second is the actual distribution channels in which we would do that. So if we wanted to make new parents aware of our weekly baby product specials, the distribution could be perhaps a weekly email to our target segment of our customer database that perhaps has recently purchased a baby product. So once again, we have our product, and then we have our distribution. So we're making this very tangible now. We're going from conceptually, what could we offer, to something that's really refined and that people can really visualize and understand. Something that's very, very specific. Then we're going to determine our price for our content. So online, this could be a monetary. So for instance, the New York Times for a long time gave away free content, gave away their news articles and their videos. But recently, probably about a year ago, for months and months, they tested the idea of something like a paywall, where after a certain amount of articles, you then have to pay for that content. So that's one way that you can have the monetary cost online with online content. And then the second idea is just time and effort. You know, what we can find is we have to strike a balance between how much effort we think that our people that we're trying to target would put into it. So for instance, a user might not have a lot of buy-in at first. So say watching a 30-second clip would be better than watching an 8-minute video. And so what you want to do is you know, try to figure out based on how much buy-in, how much trust, how much familiarity these people have with you and your brand, and choose content that is really going to be successful in terms of the cost of time and effort. So people get into trouble online when they have what we call high bar of an online ask. So for instance, if you signed up for the Obama email list, the first thing you might not necessarily want to take part in is, say, a 3-day door knocking canvas where you go out in your neighborhood and you see who wants to vote for Obama and who doesn't. So what they actually might want to do is just go on your Facebook page and maybe like something. So we want to figure out the price as far as time and effort for our content, and then actually choose step by step what we think will work at that time or that point in time with our users. Then we want to choose messages that we will put within all of our content. So what are the words and the phrases or key lines, our actual name of our products that we want to use? And then how are we actually going to come up with that? We're going to use the data from all of our analyses and all of our testing, and then we can even test that a step further. So based on our demographic analyses and looking at our psychographics and all those analyses that we did, we can choose messages that we think will work with those that specific audience segment that we want to influence here. The other thing online is that we don't just need to make assumptions. Everything online is what we call measurable. And so that way, if you send out an email, you can do something called an A/B test, and you could have different subject lines for your emails. You can have different types of blog posts, and then you can see which ones get opened more or which ones get more traffic. When you post things on Facebook, you can actually see this type of picture is getting more shares than another type of pictures. So what we can do is we don't just need to even guess or use our data, but we can actually put those out there and begin to test them. So that's how we would choose messages that we're going to put within all of our content. And then what we start doing is an actual product testing. So we're actually going to come up with prototypes and we're going to release them to small audiences. So here's a couple examples of that. The first is, say you did a sample Facebook ad and you advertise it to just a few thousand people from your audience. What call to action actually gets them to click? So what kind of motivational statement can you put there that will actually get people to share and like? So what you can do is come up with those and put those out there and see what's working. Or you could, let's say you're not sure what your logo should be. You could run online ads with different logos and see which one that people are clicking on more at a higher rate. So you actually begin to make these little things that you can put out there, and in small focus groups, essentially, you would test your products, which would be your content. So now that we have covered this introduction, let's take it to videos 1 and 2, where we'll start to apply this to the next half of this course.